You're listening to the 49 Carats Podcast, a 49ers Goldmine production with Stephanie Sanchez.
What's going on, everyone? Welcome to another edition of the 49 Carats Podcast. I'm your host, Steph. It is Monday, August 25th. We are less than 24 hours away here from the 49ers and all the NFL teams' final roster cuts down to 53 men on their rosters. And so, as you can imagine, there's a lot of hustle and bustle around the NFL right now. We're already getting some of the releases happening across the NFL. We're hearing about trade news. We're getting last-minute contract extensions for like Trey Hendrickson, and then you got Terry McLaurin. We still haven't heard anything about Jawan Jennings. I don't know if he'll be as lucky, but as always on a Monday, I've got Weston here. We've got a fun show ahead. Weston, how you doing?
I'm good. Hopefully I'm doing better than our audio tests as we were coming in this evening, but I'm good. I'm glad to, the season's upon us. I'm excited to put that foot forward and get closer to that. But my comment will be the way the 49ers are going with injuries right now, they need to find a way to convince the NFL that they should be able to carry 65 people on the active roster, not 53, because they need depth. They need depth.
Indeed, they do. And Weston, I think that's a perfect place to start right now because with all the different cuts that are happening and all the different moves, we're hearing things, right? So I think one thing we heard today was that Jakobi Meyers, wide receiver for the Raiders, he's been there for a few years now, formerly of the Patriots. He apparently has requested a trade. Now, this same report from Ian Rappaport does go on to say that the team has no plans to trade him. But if you maybe we're following the tea leaves here, but also today, the Raiders signed a free agent wide receiver, Amari Cooper. And that's not just any free agent wide receiver. Yes, I know he's older now and whatnot, but I mean, that feels pretty somewhat significant. So I don't know. Are you buying this that the Raiders are not looking to shop Jakobi Meyers? And if they are interested in shopping him, the 49ers need to be on the line, right?
I'll go backwards. Yes, they need to be on the line. Jakobi Meyers is a heck of a football player. He is like the definition of consistent. I don't care if you watch games or if you're just a fantasy football person, the dude just shows up, right? Shows up in the game, somehow shows up in your fantasy starting lineup all season long, and you can't get him out. He's super consistent. He's super slick on third downs. He's like a quarterback's best friend. So, yes, the 49ers should absolutely be in line. I don't buy that the Raiders are not shopping him. I think there are 15 guys in the National Football League that are hands-off possessions of their teams right now. And Jakobi Meyers is not one of those. I think the statement says you better come with something strong because he is somebody who commands target shares. And, hey, we just brought in this new head coach, new quarterback, new owner. We're looking to compete in the AFC West. He's a part of that. But we'll move him. It's just the price has got to – you're not coming in and you're not getting Jakobi Meyers for a 6th-round pick right now. You're not. Even if that's the value or you're too close to the season, it's got to be something that moves the needle. So I don't buy. I am selling that they are not sellers of Jakobi Meyers. I just think it's got to be the right price. And injuries, drama, everything at the position right now for the San Francisco 49ers says you should probably be more than kicking the tires on your former Bay neighbor. Steph, your volume went out.
Oh, you know what? That's because I was muted. That was the technical issue that time.
Yeah. It's Monday, baby.
That time was on me. Interesting enough, Jakobi Meyers and the 49ers have tried to make a move for Jakobi Meyers in the past. They've been interested in him and have offered the Raiders. I believe it was last year. Yeah, Mike Silver, September of 2024, reported that the 49ers had made an offer to the Raiders in which they declined at that time, there is, that whole thing that, Mike Davis would never make a trade with the 49ers or anything like that. So if that's still his sentiment, then we can forget about all of this. But I think it's also worth bringing up because I think it's clear the 49ers still very much in the wide receiver market, as they should be. And Weston, that kind of goes into the roster cuts, as I was saying, because we're going to see some cuts happening around the NFL, some not very notable, right? A lot of undrafted free agents, a lot of guys who unfortunately, their time in the NFL is maybe over. But there also may be some surprises out there, and there may be some surprise trades even that happen. I mean, even in like the last hour, we've gotten like a couple of reports of just trades, right? Guys who, not 49ers trades, but just around the NFL, teams are dangling players in front of other teams to try to see who bites because they're not planning to keep X player. And if they could get something out of it, they will try to do that. So maybe the 49ers look to make another trade. They already got Sky Moore, but maybe they wait to see what happens with roster cuts and wait to see who becomes available at that time. I don't know if there's really anyone out there right now that I'd be super interested in. The only one I've seen as far as wide receivers go is Jackson Meeks from the Lions. He was a late round pick and was one of my favorite draft crushes as far as like late round picks go, leading up to the draft. And if you guys ever tuned in to my 49K Draft Club series leading up to the draft, he was one of the players that we talked about. He was from Syracuse, and I like his game, so I really wouldn't be mad if they brought in Jackson Meeks. He was also one of the best performers in the preseason for the Lions, so that one I was a little surprised by, but a team that's deep at wide receivers. So we could see that, though, across the NFL, just guys who are in a situation where their wide receiver rooms are packed and their teams are going to let them go.
It happens every year, right? Not just wide receiver, other positions, might come available that we weren't even thinking about. I think this is just a glaring and obvious hole, not to be redundant, but injuries, drama, right? There's a lot going on at the position for the team. So I think they need to be serious. The truth is, Amari Cooper being gone, there's no marquee names out there that you think like truly make your football team significantly better. But I think this time we're going to find out how the 49ers feel about their roster and their chances in 2025/2026. Because I think if you're really serious about filling a gap right now, you probably got to make some trades, right? And the 49ers have already done that. And, Brian, with Robinson, with Sky Moore, like these are, they're trying to improve the roster. Do you continue down that, knowing that you had an exodus, knowing that you're going to be flush with compensatory picks, knowing that you have a bunch of draft picks waiting in the arsenal late rounds? Like, are you making the move, or are you finding able bodies to get through the first couple of weeks of the season? To me, that's going to be really telling of like what the 49er brass truly believes their chances to be this season. My gut tells me, we probably won't see anything significant. We're going to see roster spots filled out, right? They're going to cut some people. They're going to go find. And this is what's cool when you get new coaches in, right? Because it's like all of a sudden, maybe on the defensive side of the ball, Sal's going to be like, no, we got to have that guy, or a position coach is like, hey, that guy's available. We need to be serious about that. I think he knows the system. So this is kind of like a cool time to see. Like, unfortunately, it is a time where a lot of careers come to an end. For the season and sometimes for their career, but it's always fun to watch the guys get bounced from one roster and then get picked up by somebody else who believes them, like literally in less than 48 hours after the roster churn. So Steph, there's just nobody, and right now there's no writing on the wall that says somebody significant is going to become this cap casualty, this close to the season that is going to make the 49ers that much better of a football team. Amari Cooper could have been that, given what was going on. Jacoby Myers could absolutely be that, given I would rather have Jacoby Myers than Amari Cooper, if I'm being 100% honest. Just think he
absolutely
fits the brand of football the 49ers want to play. So I'm rambling at this point. I'll stop so we can get to the next point. I just don't see anybody out there that anybody that's listening right now is going to wake up tomorrow morning and be like, woo, glad we got that guy on the roster.
Super excited. Exactly. Yeah. I think at this point, the 49ers are just, for anyone that they maybe pick up after waivers or something like that, it's going to be a depth guy that makes their practice squad,
For sure.
So, but with that, let's talk about another move that the 49ers made, right? Brian Robinson. We hadn't talked about that on the show yet, so I wanted to just, touch on that really quickly. So the 49ers traded for running back Brian Robinson Jr. Via trade with the Washington Commanders. And the good news is the 49ers gave up a 6th-round pick, but the 49ers have 2 6th-round picks for next year's draft. They're sending over the later 6th-round pick of the 2, which I think is even better for the 49ers. That's great value, all things considered. And you see here on the right, Weston, there's already some, roster moves happening already, guys getting released. Nothing very notable there except for, Carter Bradley and Tanner Mordecai, if you guys were interested in that at all. But that goes along with my projection that the 49ers are going to move forward with 2 quarterbacks, Purdy and Jones, on their roster. But Brian Robinson is a big deal, I think, especially because Weston, Kyle Shanahan himself said, he's going to be the RB2 of this team.
You don't make the trade unless you're absolutely confident that's going to take place. Here's what I love about Brian Robinson. We know he's a tough guy, right? We know he plays a physical brand of football, and we know what he went through to start his rookie year, not too dissimilar to our rookie last year, surviving gunshot wounds, right? And coming back rather quickly to play in the National Football League and be really productive. What was funny was as soon as the trade happened, I got 400 text messages all being like, what's up with Christian McCaffrey? Right? That's the first place your mind go. Yeah, that's the first place your mind goes to if you're not a fan of the team.
Sure.
I can't even lie. It's kind of where my mind went because we knew nothing about all we knew was that he was ready to go to start the season, and then we just never saw Christian McCaffrey, right? So I'm like, oh my God, is something lingering? You make this move. But RB2 for sure. What does this mean? It means a lot right now. I've seen a lot of love-hate for this trade. I'm going to go out on record and say, love it. Love everything about it. I'm not sold on Guerrero. We don't know what James is going to really look like right now, right? I was high on the Kiner kid. He's cut, injured, I thought he had a chance to make an impact on this roster just given reps, and he would have proven himself. Brian Robinson's a guy who's proven himself in the NFL, still young, still in a rookie contract, can still contribute. It's a pretty darn good pass catcher out of the backfield.
Yeah,
and to me, this takes a workload off of Christian McCaffrey, right? We don't need you to carry the ball 300 or touch the ball 350 times in the season. Maybe we can more confidently spell you. And oh, by the way, I'm hopeful Kyle Shanahan's, drawing some things up where CMC and B-Rob are on the field at the same exact time. That solves your wide receiver woe. I've argued that Christian McCaffrey could be the best wide receiver on this football team as of right now. It gives you, and maybe that's how you preserve his body a little bit, but still getting him reps and meaningful reps and meaningful touches just in a different way to support your quarterback. I'm not often moved by trades like this late in the offseason. You know what I mean? Because usually they come from a place of desperation, while the motivation in this was from desperation around injuries. Good result. Moves the needle for me and definitely makes this team a better football team by having him on the active roster every Sunday.
Yeah, and it didn't even mention this, but I'm sure some of you have already seen the Commanders are also paying part of B-Rob's contract. So I think they're paying about a little over $1 million of that contract, which helps the 49ers out as well from the contract standpoint. And the thought did cross my mind, Weston, as well, of, hey, we're going to see both of these guys on the field at the same time. That means Christian McCaffrey can line up out wide. Come on, we know it's happening. We know it's coming. And that's a good situation, honestly, for the 49ers offense to be in, especially in the first few weeks of the season, So this is kind of a way to fix the wide receiver problems that they're going to have for the first few weeks. And I mean, Kyle Shanahan, if he's as creative as we all say he is, then this could definitely work out. I'm looking forward to seeing what their plan is for Brian Robinson. Today was his first practice with the team. He didn't participate in the game on Saturday, of course. And so this was his first time getting to look at everything, and he talked to the media as well. So I'm looking forward to this. You know, honestly, Weston, when he was being thrown around as a trade option by 49er fans, I didn't originally get it because I was like, well, Guerendo's your number 2. Yeah. I don't know where Brian Robinson fits in on the roster. But after that game on Saturday, man, I think it's pretty clear Guerendo – he's not that guy. Well,
no.
that and you know, he didn't look great, but I do think part of that does have to do with the health of his shoulder. He re-aggravated it early in that game, definitely seemed to hinder him. But wow, what an inefficient night by Isaac Guerendo, which kind of like, I want to get into that topic right now just a little bit. We'll get into the game on Saturday and how that impacts the roster a little bit here and there. So this is where we want to talk about Isaac Guerendo. I don't think he's gonna get cut. I saw people saying that after the game, like Guerendo's done. He's definitely fallen out of favor. I think that's clear. You trading for Brian Robinson is a pretty clear indication of that. And then the showing on Saturday being a bad one, like, yeah, I think that just tells you why the 49ers maybe wouldn't feel confident in that. And he's hurt again. Like, he's hurt a lot, so you can't really depend on him to be an RB2, a reliable RB2 either, because next thing you know, not only do you need an RB2 that's reliable, you need an RB3 now because your RB2 is not reliable. You know what I mean? Yeah. So that's the issue that they seem to have with Guerendo. So now I completely get it. But now it looks like Guerendo is relegated to RB3. And that's if – so they also drafted Jordan James. Like, could we see Jordan James eventually, he's still hurt, by the way, but could we eventually see Jordan James, you know, get ahead of Isaac Guerendo at some point?
Yeah, couple things to pick apart there, or just dive a little deeper into is like, so on the Jordan James front, we don't know. You haven't seen him either. You know what I mean? Like in game action, and it's hard to make that evaluation on a rookie. Drafted means he stays, right? Like in my opinion, right? Yeah, like he stays. Same with Guerendo, drafted earlier, right? Like I don't think he's gone. And I can't just dismiss what I saw with my own eyes last year. Like there were certainly like spectacular moments for Isaac Guerendo catching the football. He's when healthy, he seems explosive. But yeah, there's no way he's not relegated just based on like making the trade. And to your point, right? Like you're just fortifying the position. You're getting deeper, but by bringing in Brian Robinson, and you're eliminating the reliability on unhealthy, unproven individuals. That's good math, right? Like at the end of the day, like that's good football math. And that's how good football teams are managed at run, you know, at arguably the most important position in Kyle Shanahan's offense, right? Like is the running back. Like you need to be confident in what you have there. And like last year they caught lightning in the bottle with Jordan Mason early and even glimmers with Guerendo. But then when you saw the injuries piled up, the run game just fell off. And I'm not poo-pooing Guerendo for his performance on Saturday because honestly, I thought everybody played awful on Saturday. We'll get to that, I'm sure. But
everyone.
Most everyone. Okay. Not everyone, but you'll hear my full thoughts very soon on this game. But that being said, like you just haven't seen enough from Guerendo to say like I'm going into the season with him as my number 2. Like it's just you haven't seen him all preseason. You know, you haven't seen Jordan James all preseason. The only one we've seen is Keyshawn Vaughn and Patrick Taylor Jr., who gonna miss the season. Like those are the guys that we saw take all the reps.
And now Jeff Wilson, who I literally saw people saying Jeff Wilson Jr. is better than Isaac Guerendo. Is a healthy Isaac Guerendo better than a Jeff Wilson Jr. right now?
I think I don't know. I think a healthy Isaac Guerendo is more explosive than Jeff Wilson Jr. And from where they're going to be positioned on the roster, I'm taking explosiveness over. If you're going to be my RB3, I don't need you to be steady Eddie. You know what I mean? Like, I need you to be like a game changer, home run ball, upside type of back. And Jeff Wilson's not that anymore. He was that once upon a time for us. Had a heck of a runner, solid runner, parlayed that into getting paid for a couple years. He's back, but I don't know. I don't even know if Jeff Wilson makes the roster. Like, I don't think he makes the roster. And I don't think he makes the practice squad.
Oh, okay. I think he can make the practice squad because
I think he won't clear. Like, I think he'll be picked up before even going on.
I don't even think he will.
I do.
I don't even think he will. And I only say that maybe to the Dolphins.
Yeah.
That'd be the only team I could think. But he was a free agent when the 49ers picked him up, which was not that long ago. And so I think the 49ers will take their chances cutting Jeff Wilson. And, they'd be open to keeping him on the practice squad. So running backs, McCaffrey, B-Rob, Isaac Guerendo, Jordan James, and that's assuming that Jordan James doesn't carry any injury designation at roster cut time. Like, they could always decide to put him on IR with a return designation, or just put him on IR, have him redshirt. I don't think that's necessary, and that'd be kind of weird if they did that. But teams have weird ways of manipulating the cut down to 53 and making it work. I'd keep Jordan James. And then cut Jeff Wilson Jr. and welcome to the practice squad if he makes it there.
Yeah. Are you seeing this Kenny Pickett getting traded to the Raiders?
Yeah. There's a couple. That's what I was saying. Like, since we went live, there were like two trades that happened. It's like weird. The other one was Nekai Blackman of the Colts.
Oh, yeah. Or no, yeah.
From the Colts traded for him.
Okay.
So trades happening. Right. I'm telling you, man. I'm telling you, it's getting active. Football. It's getting active out there. But speaking of getting active, the 49ers are in the midst of all this, preparing for week 1. And we do have some news, some practice news on some guys. The good news is several players were back at practice today. Mykel Williams, CJ West, safety Richie Grant, corner Fabian Moreau, quarterback Mac Jones, offensive lineman Ben Barch. So Ben Barch being back is huge. I think we figured he'd be back. So he, one of those guard spots is probably going to be his, right? So don't have to worry about that for week 1, although Connor Colby filling in admirably, but also Connor Colby could be used in the interim for Dominic Pooney's spot. But this is great news, Weston. Like, for the rookies, Mykel, CJ West, we're very excited to see those guys on week 1.
Yeah, I think those two and Ben Barch are the 3 that I'm like, all right.
Right?
Reinforcements are coming. And then you look at on the right side of your screen, and I just get nauseous all over again when you see, I don't even know, 5 wide receivers, right? 4 of them, which were expected to make some sort of contribution this season, are not practicing. But yeah, Mykel and CJ West, obviously a lot invested in them, and a lot of expectations for those guys, even as rookies, especially with all the positive. So we saw CJ West in some game tape. We have not seen Mykel, right? In game tape. Yep. No, but by all accounts, all reports have been nothing but glowing for both. This team needs that.
Training camp, those guys rocked it. So excited for them in week 1. For the audio listeners who can't see the screen right now, I'm just going to rattle off the guys who are not practicing or still not practicing. Defensive tackle Kalia Davis, wide receiver Jawan Jennings, Jordan Watkins, Demarcus Robinson, Russell Gage Jr., Jacob Cowing, cornerback Upton Stout, running back Jordan James, corner Jacob Robinson, linebacker Stone Blanton, offensive lineman Dominic Pooney, defensive tackle Kevin Givens. So still a pretty long list. The semi-good news there is that the reports from some of the beat writers were that Pooney, Upton Stout, and I think Kalia Davis were working off to the side and they were moving well. So that's a good sign. Usually that means they're close to returning. Upton Stout, for example, running, cutting, all those things. So he's dealing with a calf injury, right? Hey, those calf injuries could be tricky. Before you know it, they can last months.
Yeah.
If your name is Juwan Jennings.
Yeah. Yeah.
But no, I think it's a good sign that Pooney seems to be trending, as well as Stout seem to be trending in the right direction to be ready for week 1 too. That's really exciting.
Yeah, and you still got 2 weeks, right? And a lot of that now is like get your feet under you, rest. Like you just went through the pits of of training camp, right? And played all your preseason games. So the hope is now like, yes, attention to detail, but now hopefully the training staff as well can prioritize some of these players to get out there.
No more injuries.
Yeah.
God. No more injuries. Just get them ready for week 1, please. And then still no more injuries. But yeah, so this was the last, I think, practice that was open to the media for who knows how long. So we'll still get some practice reports, once the regular season gets going, of course. But yeah, training camp is officially over now, getting into real season practices here soon. But let's talk about the game on Saturday a little bit more now, Weston. So usually we like to do our 49K player of the week on Monday, and we still will, but like I asked Weston, like, hey, there's really not many names we can give or nominate for 49K player of the week. I only say that because kind of similar to last week too, Weston, like it's not that there weren't other guys who made good plays here and there. Like on my post-game show, I talked about a couple of guys who I thought helped themselves out. That still doesn't mean they had a performance worthy of being 49K player of the week, being nominated as such. So that was my sort of dilemma. Yes, exactly. Filthy casual. Let's all say in unison our nominee for 49K player of the week. Nick Martin. Nick Martin, end of list. Like that's kind of it. I mean, if anyone in the chat has any other nominees they want to throw out there, we're open to hearing them. But I think for this final preseason game, it was really Nick Martin. And I actually do want to spend some time talking about him since we have time. He's our only nominee, right?
Yeah.
So, Weston, I'm just so impressed by the growth. And I would say like substantial enough growth that we've seen from Nick Martin each preseason game. Like, this, if he's on that trajectory, like for the rest of the season, I mean, hey, maybe he can get himself on the field at some point in the regular season.
He's going to find his way onto the field. If it's coming on this quick, it's been really promising. It's funny what reps does for a player. That's why we talk about the young guys need to play at this time of the year, because now it could be a month or 2 months before Nick Martin sees meaningful reps again outside of maybe special teams if he's on the active roster for the game, which he will be, right? Because, I mean, the guy flies down the football field. He's going to find himself on special teams, and he plays with a degree of violence. But, yeah, like you've seen the progression week over week from his pursuit angles, just his confidence in dissecting the play. Yeah, like everything's getting – is it perfect? No. He's still a rookie. He's still a little over his skis, right? And he will be for a little while, but the more opportunities he gets, the more confident I am that he's going to take advantage of those. It's just gotten better and better. And maybe it just looked so obvious because from both teams, right? The product on the field was significantly less than stellar on Saturday evening. But yeah, Nick Martin, Steph context. I had a fantasy football draft in person Saturday night. You know I never miss a 49ers game.
Those are always
in
fun.
person. Oh, this one's always the best. This one's such a good time. But in any case, my son was like, I want to watch the game with you. I want to watch the game with you. So I was like, all right, cool. I have NFL Plus, whatever. We'll watch it tomorrow morning, Sunday morning, first thing in the morning. So we wake up super early. We go to watch the game. NFL Plus's broadcast isn't even doing the actual TV broadcast. It's only doing the condensed game version, which is 38 minutes to watch the entire game. That was one of the most painful 38 minutes of my life. Like, I can't even imagine how I would have felt watching the entire game broadcast. 8 punts in the first quarter. Like, what are we doing here? Right? Like, on Kyle Shanahan and Jim Harbaugh run offenses. Like, what are we doing here? In any case, back to Nick Martin, because the segment's about Nick Martin. I just, it's hard for me to fathom he doesn't find a way onto the football field and push D Winters for playing time. They are eerily similar to one another. It might be who's the hot hand in practice, right? Who's the least injured going into the week, because they both play super physical, right? Like we saw it with D Winters last year, with some injuries creep up the way that you play. I'm super pleased with the progression of Nick Martin.
I still think, obviously D Winters has the edge, but I think in season 2, D Winters will remain having the edge unless, of course, like you mentioned, there's an injury to Winters, which is always a possibility, especially with this team. And I'm going to knock on wood to that. But, Weston, I think it's more likely that if Nick Martin does make his way on the field, it would be over Luke Gifford. Luke Gifford's that LB3 right now. I could see that being similar to the Fred, Greenlaw, Aziz tandem that we had, right? Where you got 3 guys who are, pretty good, formidable options at linebacker, and you find a way to get all 3 on the field. That's what I could see for Nick Martin. And don't count out Tatum Bethune, who also looked very much improved this year as well. So the 49ers always have this very good problem of having a lot of talented linebackers. Last year was the exception. Last year, we're just going to forget that ever happened, right?
Yeah.
But they just have a knack for drafting and developing linebackers who become really good starters in the league. And so I would not be surprised if Nick Martin is going to be the next one. So excited.
Yes, he has the ability. I just feel like they're just going to be in a lot of 2 LB spots, right? Like I view it. I want him to transcend, to push D Winters for that playing time. Let iron sharp, Jim Harbaugh's quote, let iron sharpen iron. There's a lot to like about Nick Martin's game, and there's a lot to like about D Winters. I don't know. I just have this feeling in my gut. I have nothing about it. Other than I just think Nick Martin will find a way. It might be one of those things where if D Winters is a little nicked up, Nick Martin takes the reps and then never looks back, right? That happens. That happens all the time in the NFL. You know what I mean? You're not going to take a good player off the field while they're playing well. That's bad. That's bad for business. So we'll see, but I'm glad after that showing we at least have something positive to speak about going in to the regular season here. But I think we were all excited to see how Nick Martin was going to progress. We knew the athletic ability. We knew the intangibles, but like, how was that going to translate on the field? And yes, this is against 2s and 3s and guys who are going to be looking for jobs in, a couple weeks, but he's taking advantage of every opportunity.
Yeah, and that's important. And not just that, Weston, the things you mentioned that you saw improve, that we all saw improve, that has nothing to do with the opponent, in my opinion. Like the angles, the tackling, so I think it's all a really good sign for Nick Martin. Arrow is pointing up. That is your 49K player of the week for the 49ers preseason finale. Weston, did you have anyone that you at least wanted to give flowers to? I
do. Now that I've settled down and got that off my chest about how poor it was, I'll use my analytical side of my brain, and there is. I thought Tanner Mordecai actually played a halfway decent football game. And it was weird, right? Because like they were trading series and going like on and off and what have you. I hate Carter Bradley stinks. I'm sorry. Like, I don't even know how else to say that because these guys are NFL players,
He
right?
tried.
Like,
He really tried, you know?
Yeah, I can only dream to be as talented as these guys who are getting cut today and tomorrow.
Good
But I think
self-awareness.
yeah, for sure. But Tanner Mordecai, like, I just think he has a little different, like a little like edginess to his game. Like, I like when the play breaks down, he's a threat, right? Like, what do we always talk about? When you get to your backup quarterback, if you're at your third string quarterback, all is lost. You're not looking for a guy who's playing within the system. You're looking for a guy who can create. He's got a really good arm. And he's mobile. Just another one that, like, he's just never going to get enough reps. He's never going to get enough opportunity to probably show us what he really is. But like, I thought he played a decent game, and he was at least a bright spot to watch as well.
So this one's interesting, right? These two quarterbacks, because much of the preseason they've both been awful, atrocious. One might say.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think in this game, at times they both look improved. There were times in camp, because I got to see Carter Bradley in camp, and also Tanner Mordecai. Tanner Mordecai, by the way, terrible practice quarterback based on what I saw. Like, picks galore, right? And that was in the first 2 weeks of training camp. Maybe that improved as camp progressed and I was no longer there. Could be. He also, I think he looked maybe slightly better in some games. Like this last game, I agree with you. He did look better, showed some more athleticism. Carter Bradley, for whatever reason, does look like a deer in headlights when he's out there. I'm like, he doesn't look that way in the training camp practices that I saw. So the only thing I can think of, in camp, you're not actually getting sacked. There's no actual worry of that. There's would-be sacks and the guys let up, and you could still make a throw.
Yep.
And when you make that throw, you might make a pretty nice throw, which I think happened to Carter Bradley probably in practice, if I had to imagine, a couple of times. So he just looked in over his head in those preseason games, and he did look scared. Like he looked shook. So I agree. I thought Tanner Mordecai definitely helped himself out. In any case, both of them were waived injured today, so I guess all of it doesn't matter. But I wouldn't be surprised if the 49ers at some point brought Tanner Mordecai back, like when he's healthy, sign him to the practice squad or something like that.
I just think you have to, I mean, he's a smart kid too, I don't know. I just feel like he plays if there's a such thing, the 49er way now. You know what I mean? Yeah. You got anybody?
Speaking of, well, no, just really quickly, I want to say this. Speaking of, like, with cuts happening around the NFL, right? Maybe the 49ers look at a QB3, like that they keep on their practice squad with some of these cuts. One name that, really caught my eye for the quarterbacks was Dorian Thompson-Robinson. And I only say that because the 49ers either really loved him or really wanted people to think that they loved him in that year's draft class for whatever reason. What was that, like 2 years ago? So maybe keep an eye on that. And again, it might have just been them trying to make it seem like they were interested in him and they really weren't. They met with him a ton that draft class, or that draft season. So who knows? Maybe that's someone. But as far as who I would nominate, not nominate, but just give flowers to, Drew Moss. I mean, every time Drew Moss is in the game and he fills in for Nick Zakel, you almost notice right away just the difference in the blocking. Like, come on. Drew Moss, I think, is a guy who is potentially in danger of getting cut, and I think he's going to get poached. That's what I think is going to happen. Do you notice Drew Moss at all, Weston?
I did notice Drew Moss. Him and Colby are still not popping for me as much as I want to, but they are playing better than the rest of the linemen that I've been watching all offseason for this team right now.
Low bar.
That's what I mean. It's a sad day when we're all ecstatic that Ben Barch is coming back to practice, right? Like that the offensive line has been putrid the entire preseason. Like I just haven't. But to your question, have I noticed Drew Moss? Yes, of course I have. I agree with you 100%. I think he's got enough tape out there, enough snaps in this preseason. Young guy that, like, if he doesn't make it to our practice squad, if he doesn't make the 53, he doesn't make it to the San Francisco 49ers. I just think that's That's fact. You know what I mean? Like these other coaches get paid too, right? They have guys who are just sitting there watching film of other teams for this purpose, right? To find 2 or 3 people that are going to make your roster that weren't on your roster last week. That's literally their job. And Moss is going to be one of those guys.
It's going to hurt because I feel like the 49ers are a team that could use every good offensive lineman they can get. And yes, they will draft an offensive lineman in the next draft. Probably not as high. Exactly. Probably not as high as we would have liked them to. It's just going to be the same cycle. Like, why do we do this to ourselves? Why do they do this to us? Is more like it. But, the reason that I don't think they can justify Connor Colby making the roster, and maybe he does, right? Maybe they do make it happen. But usually I feel so Connor Colby, I don't know if he could play center. But he could play both guard spots, which is great for positional versatility. So that's how he'll make it, in my opinion. Nick Zakelj at least offers you center ability. It's not good ability, but if you can play it, if you've played it before, like, there you go. Drew Moss, I don't remember if he's played center. I know through camp he's only been at guard. So if maybe there'd be a higher chance if he had more positional versatility to them. But I think Drew Moss and Connor Colby right now overlap too much in their skill set that they'd pick between one of the two, and it's going to be Connor Colby. It just is, just based on they drafted him.
A drafted player, that's it.
Drafted player. I mean, they both looked good in this preseason as well. So, yeah, unfortunately for Drew Moss, or not unfortunate for him, he's going to end up on a football team regardless.
For sure.
I think unfortunate for 49er fans and maybe even the team, they'll lose out on the potential of Drew Moss.
What I like about Moss is he's a gamer. I fully believe he's not just going to make a football team. I think he's going to be starting for a football team by the end of the season. I just think he makes that kind of impression. Another one that is getting better with reps and with time and with exposure to NFL defensive tackles and defensive linemen. Like, takes a little time to get used to. The truth of the matter is it's not going to be for the San Francisco 49ers. And I think, Steph, to your point, that's painful because you'll probably, we'll be looking across the league, week 13, week 14, checking what's going on. And we're going to be like, look at this freaking guy starting over here. And we couldn't even find a way to get him onto our 53 with as bad and as this offensive line is right now,
This
they can't
has
run
happened.
The football, Steph, in the preseason.
I know that
not run the football.
That's a serious concern. And granted, we haven't seen Trent Williams out there and the starting offensive line entirely out there at the same time. I'll just chalk it up to it being that, but I am pretty concerned for the run blocking right now. Thank God you have Christian McCaffrey, because otherwise, geez, it's bad.
Maybe that's why they went and got Brian Robinson, because they're looking at this line like that. I don't care if it's Christian McCaffrey. I don't care if it's Jesus Christ himself in the backfield. I don't know where the hole is. You know what I mean? Like, what are you going to find? Like,
oh no, not even Jesus Christ could get yards on this offensive line. That's not good. It's not good.
It's not. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. It just I'm like, it's the first time that I think I've really been this critical about them not addressing the offensive line, because this is the most glaringly obvious it's been, right? They've been able to overcome it through scheme. Don't know if they are this time.
I'll wait. I'll reserve judgment until week 1, because 49ers have this weird way. Like, their offensive line always looks like crap in the preseason. Like, it almost always does. And then the season comes along and they'll get better. The fact that there's so many returning starters, usually that's good, because you don't have to wait for it to gel. So Pooney's going to be back. You have Trent Williams there. I'm hoping for the best. Hoping and praying. But what I was going to say is the 49ers have had many instances where they have cut an offensive lineman that, the fan base really wants them to keep, and they get poached. And most of the time, those players end up getting forgotten about or cut again by whichever team. Like I just remember Donovan West?
Oh, yeah.
Deep cut, right? At this point, it's a deep cut. It was a few years ago that we were all on the Donovan West train, and why would the 49ers let him go? Well, I mean, I just saw he got cut today, So you win some, you lose some. Let's just hope for Drew Moss, the 49ers can find a way to keep him around, and he's one of the good ones. Weston, is there anyone that you wanted to put on notice? Because I think this is a good segue to the roster bubble talk that we'll end our show here on.
This hurts so much.
Does it?
Jair Brown.
Oh, that's not who I thought you were going to say. I thought you were going to say.
Oh, no, yeah, I know. I had to throw a curveball in here.
Okay, yeah.
I think the ship has sailed on the Jair Brown experiment for the San Francisco 49ers. I've been a big supporter of Tig, and I think I do still think he is capable of bouncing back, but he has not maximized his opportunities. The touchdown given up in that game, dude was in position. I don't even know what he was doing. Like I literally have no justification. Like you were right there. How do you not make a play on the ball as a third-round draft pick?
Theme.
And I can't make an excuse for it anymore. You played yourself out of the opportunity, unfortunately. He's been getting a lot of reps. Those safeties have played a lot of football in the preseason.
He got a ton of reps. He absolutely did. I think him being a starter, like those days are behind him, obviously. There were like reports, right, that the 49ers were wanting to trade Jair Brown. I don't know if they'll have any luck doing that. But he's making this 53,
Yeah.
So unless they find a safety somewhere. And also, you have Malik Mustafa who's still hurt. Richie Grant just came back today, so maybe they feel less like they have to keep Jair Brown. But I still think he has to make this roster just because of, at least until Mustafa comes back. I mean,
he makes the team, but the experiment. I've been lobbying
the
starters should be him and Siegel in the start of the season. I can't make that. I can't justify that right now.
Yeah, I unfortunately agree. It almost felt throughout this preseason, at least, it's felt Ambry Thomas-esque in that a player who is in position, but it doesn't matter. Like nothing happened. they didn't do anything about it. They're there, but they just can't seem to make it matter. I think for Jair Brown, like there's been a couple of plays, big ones, like the Brock Bowers catch.
Yep.
Deep downfield. That was a big one where he just mistimed his jump. This one on Saturday, mistimed his jump. He was right there. That wasn't like his full assignment, right? I think Marquez Siegel had some responsibility there as well.
For sure.
Let the receiver over the top there. But in any case, I think I agree. Siegel's going to get the benefit of the doubt. He's a rookie. He has the room to grow. We just haven't seen that growth from Jair Brown. Can't justify him, being a starter for this team, unfortunately. So,
sorry, one of my dogs just came barreling in.
He's got some words for Jair Brown as well. Well,
this is not my old guy. He's been watching a lot of football with me. He's pissed off too. Don't worry.
Either that, or he came to join my segment on Jake Moody and being put on notice. Look, I feel like we've done this exact segment several times, Weston, where we're putting Jake Moody on notice. I think this time feels like the closest we've been to that actually happening. And I only say that because if you look at the faces of Kyle Shanahan and Brant Boyer, I don't know if you saw it, Weston, in the condensed version.
I did
not. Probably didn't see that, right?
I've seen clips because of it. Yeah.
Because I know the condensed version's like, it's literally play ends.
Boom. Yeah.
Next one. I love that. But yeah, I mean, the faces of Kyle Shanahan and then Brant Boyer, you kind of just see him walk right past Jake Moody, looking down, doesn't want to look at him, like clear as day. So I think they're done with him. I understand what Kyle Shanahan said after the game in the presser, but as long as he's on the team, like, you know, you're not gonna poo-poo him. Exactly. See, I'm gonna start using that, Wesley, because you've used that quite a lot, and I'm like, when I want to say the
other word, yep.
Keep it kids friendly here. You can't poo-poo him on, to the media while he's still on the team, especially if, like, who knows, maybe they'd want to trade him to another. I don't know, just for whatever reason, you don't want to do that. But here's what I think is going to happen. I think the 49ers are going to release Jake Moody, but it won't be until they find a replacement. And so I think Jake Moody makes the 53. Yeah, my dad is hilarious. He said Debo would have slapped him.
And he would have been in the right at this point. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Now we understand Debo's frustration. I mean, I think
sure.
I know that was for a different player, but even still, it was all having to do with Jake Moody. See, this is what happens. Jake Moody is such a topic. It's a problem. Like, he should not be a topic. He's clearly a topic in the locker room and has been. That's a problem. You shouldn't even have to think about your kicker.
Kickers should not be spoken about.
Yes, thank you. They should not be spoken about unless they're awesome. That's the only time I want to hear about a kicker, if they're just that awesome. But
I've come full circle on your counterpart for bully balls thought process on kickers at this point. They're not people.
Yeah, Jay he lets loose on those kickers, man. No remorse. But yeah, I mean, you could sign kickers off the street and they could do just as good or just as bad. But you didn't give up a 3rd-round pick for them, so whatever. You can cut them the next day and grab another one that could do better. Yep. You know what I mean? Yep. Like, yeah, and the 49ers have had Slyle. They've had Matthew Wright, who got cut. They've had a number of guys.
Greg Joseph they just had.
Greg Joseph, maybe bring him back. Who knows? I saw a lot of people pointing out the Pittsburgh Steelers cut Ben Sauls, who is he's a rookie. He was an undrafted free agent. He extra points, 6 of 6, and then field goals in the preseason, 83.3% completion. The only one he missed was in the 40 to 49 range, based on what I'm seeing here. A lot of Steeler fans are like, a team is going to get a good kicker. Like, this guy deserves to be in the NFL. So, I mean, hey, maybe the 49ers take that chance. I don't know. But I did also see this, though, Weston, before I let you go here, is that I did see they're going to try to trade him first before they release him. That's kind of important. No? You want Well, you gotta try. You gotta
make a phone call. That doesn't mean I'm not gonna laugh at you and hang up. But like, thanks for the offer. Like, what are you gonna get me? Like a bagel with cream cheese?
I'm sure they called the 49ers.
I just don't understand. Like, here's where I'm at with this right now. We all know Jake Moody has like a big leg, right? That's his upside. That's what a kicker's upside is, a big leg. The problem is between the ears, football-wise, it's gone. And you see how quickly it spirals. It goes from a missed extra point to kicking the ball out of bounds on a kickoff with the new rules in like the preseason game. It's just all over the place, and it slides too fast. And at this point, the serious question, You can't find somebody who can do it exactly the same or a little bit better for the lesser investment.
We know they could. We know they could. They haven't been ready to admit their mistake yet. Are they ready? Are they ready yet?
This is the time.
Because if they're not ready to admit their mistake, then they better be ready to let this guy, cost you some games.
If you can't admit to the mistake, you better stand right dead center in front of that microphone when you're asked a question as to why is this kicker still on your roster when he just cost you a game.
Yeah.
And I don't mean missing a game-winning field goal is not costing a game, right? It's a really hard position. It's the body of work throughout the game that is also a problem leading to those moments, We all were hopeful that after the Raiders game, it was going to turn a little bit because yes, he missed a 50-yard field goal. Can't penalize a guy for that, right? Every kicker in the NFL misses 50-yard field goals. The Hall of Fame kickers miss 50-yard field goals, and he compiled it together. But then literally immediately following next game, straight down the toilet. I just don't understand.
Yeah. Weston, was there anyone else that you watched and you were like, that bubble player, get him off this team now? Like, was there anyone you were so repulsed by watching the game? I know overall you were, but
yeah, overall the offensive line play just in general, like who started at center? Like it was awful. Hennessy. Oh my God.
Yeah, he's bad.
Oh my God. And Zakelj. And it pains me for Zakelj.
Both of those guys.
He's a Fordham University legend. I am a Fordham University grad many, many years before Nick Zakelj. But he's a legend playing in the NFL from a subdivision football school. And you wanted it to be good. And I've been on his side forever, but it's just like, all right, you're like year 4 now, dude. If it hasn't clicked with all these reps and coming together, it's probably not. And I don't want to hear versatility. He played left tackle in college. You might be able to play center. You might be able to play guard. What good does it matter? You know what? I can play kicker and I can play wide receiver and I can play quarterback. Doesn't make me any good at it. You know what I mean? Like, I think that's where we're at right now. And now I am seeing what everybody's been talking about for so long about, like, there just needed to be other investment in the offensive line, like draft picks, 4th rounders, 5th rounders. Some guys that 2-3 years from now with some experience, and by 2 or 3 years from now, I'm meaning now, if that investment was made previously, maybe we're having a different conversation about this offensive line. But right now, it is paper thin.
Yeah.
One injury, and it's
over.
The wheels come off. Yeah. So I'll say Zakelj I put on notice because he's going to make the roster, but I don't believe he should.
I don't think he should make the roster either. I think we've seen enough of him. Another guy, Junior Bergen, I think obviously with the Sky Moore trade, his time was numbered, or his days were numbered as well with the 49ers. I still think maybe they keep him on the practice squad, but yeah, I mean, the muffed punt, pretty bad. That'll do it. In addition to Sky Moore coming in and pretty much taking your job. So if he unfortunately doesn't offer any other value besides special teams, and if you're muffing punts, then I think you're going to have to go. I was bummed about Jacob Robinson getting hurt because I would have loved to see Jacob Robinson make the practice squad. Although maybe the fact that he's hurt makes it so he doesn't get poached, because I do think he has a possibility for getting poached too.
Well, I think that's the same with Junior Bergen. Like, I think he has a very realistic shot to make the practice squad if the 49ers are interested. Not so great preseason, undrafted player, subdivision football, right? Like, I think there's a chance he can stick around, and it's hard because you look at his accolades. You right? Like subdivisions, like the Devin Hester of subdivision football in the return game, and where have we been so bad? But yeah, the writing's on the wall when it's duplicative, because that's what Sky Moore's supposed to do well, even though I don't care about that trade even a little bit. I don't think it makes us team any better. I mean, he's just not – he was supposed to be – he just doesn't look explosive. Like, he was explosive his rookie year when the ball was in his hand. He doesn't look like that guy, so we'll see. We'll see. But, yeah, Junior Bergen.
I think Sky Moore just needs to stop dancing on the field. You get the ball, just turn on the turbos, That's it. Just go. All right, before we get out of here, just a couple of things to know for roster cutdown day. all teams have to be down to 53 players by tomorrow, 1 p.m. Pacific. For those of you, the majority of you who are probably on Pacific time, right? That is 4 p.m. Eastern, Tuesday, August 26th. So we'll be getting more reports in the next day of maybe some trades happening before then, maybe some more cuts happening before then. I wouldn't be surprised, Weston, if the 49ers are one of the last teams to announce their cuts. For some reason, I feel like they always do that. So don't be surprised about that. Now, when you see players getting cut, you're going to see released, you're going to see waived. Players who are released are not subject to waivers. They can sign with the team at any time after that. Players who are waived are subject to waivers. The 49ers waiver, where they fall in the waiver order right now is 11th. And that is right now, it's this before the season starts, it's the same order as the draft order. So the 49ers are 11th, which is a pretty decent spot if you want to, get someone, put in the claim and have a better chance at coming away with a player you like. So a lot going to be happening tomorrow. Make sure that you hit that notification bell so you know when I go live. Going to be doing Bully Ball tomorrow with Jay, and we'll be going live immediately after the roster cuts are announced. So make sure you guys tune into that. Make sure you guys like this video. Make sure you subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet. Not just mine, Weston's as well. Island 49 audio listeners. Leave a rating, leave a review. But for now, folks, have a good rest of your Monday and peace. Go Niners.